Okay, so this is actually the day before the weekend starts. I'm going to do my first roll now so that I can get an idea of what I'm going to be reading first. So where we are is I need to read this. I need to read this like now. So I'm going to roll to see if this will be my first, if I can fit this in as my first book. If not, I will just start this today. And then the books I'm going to be reading with my rolls are going to be audiobooks alongside this. So we're going to go do that now. Wish me luck for trying to fit this in. Look how huge this is. And I need to read this by Sunday, like end of day Sunday. So I've really, or Monday at the latest. So I've really kind of screwed myself over with that one. But let's go do the roll now. Okay, so here we are. I think I'm going to do yellow this weekend because yellow, although I did come out here, didn't I, actually? So I'm supposed to be going through here. I don't think it really matters. Because yellow is intimidating, and as I said, I want to try and get Pet Sematary on here, and Pet Sematary intimidates me because it's so big and I've got like read it so quickly. We're going to use a little bat this weekend. Can we get him? There he is, a little bat. Okay, so I haven't looked at what the equipment or the ghost prompt is. Maybe I should have seen what prompts would work for Pet Sematary and tried to gear that way, but we're just going to go for it. Number 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're just going to go straight for the equipment. So we could go equipment or number 6 or 4. So it could be equipment, 6 or 4. Maybe I should have a look, see if any of them would fit Pet Sematary in. That'd be really helpful. Okay, let me have a look. Okay, so we're gonna go for 1, 2, 3. Come down to number 6. That is a 2-word title. So we're gonna put Pet Sematary in there. Now I do need a audio book because Thursday morning, Thursdays I'm at work all day, so I have the opportunity to listen to an audiobook all day. That's like my busy day. So we're going to do that roll now as well, so I can have that book downloaded and ready to go for the morning. 5. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we go diagonal on this? I can't remember. 3, 4, 5. Bring me here, but then we're missing the equipment and the ghost. Could we go back? 1, 2, 3. No. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring me to the ghost. Might be fun to try and get the ghost and the equipment in each room if I can. Okay, so if we did the ghost, that's going to be me trying to find an audiobook for the weekend or for like when I'm at work. Okay. Yeah, so my first roll, I got 3. I landed on 6, which was a 2-word title. So luckily I could fit Pet Sematary in, and it has to be an intimidating book, and I'm intimidated by not only the size of this, but the fact that I need to get this read by like the end of Sunday. And I'm a slow reader with physical books. That's 460 pages. I then rolled for a audiobook because I am at work all day Thursday, so I get to listen to a lot of audio, and I want to pre-download it this evening. It's Wednesday evening. And on so that gave me, I got 5. I rolled 5 and I ended up on the ghost, which is read a book you could spell witch on the cover, and obviously is intimidating. On TikTok, I have 2 like ongoing series. I have a spinner wheel for my audiobooks and a spinner wheel for my physical TBR, and I do that to pick a book. And I just spun for an audiobook the other day and I haven't started it yet. and it is Henry V, The Astonishing Rise of England's Greatest Warrior King by Dan Jones. I could spell witch on that. It's a 400-page nonfiction, so safe to say I'm rather intimidated. But that's pretty cool because I can align up one that I was about to start. Anyway, so that's what I'm starting tomorrow when this Halloweekend weekend starts. And when I picked the intimidating room, I wasn't kidding. Wish me luck. I've been listening to this at work, which was obviously my plan. I'm halfway. What can one say about a non-fiction? You know, but halfway through, so I'm just like a couple of chapters in from the second part, and the second part is when Henry V becomes king. So the first part is all about kind of what shapes him into the person he is when he becomes king. And Dan Jones, he's actually the author's narrating it as well, which is really good. He said that in the beginning he's got a little introduction. I haven't read any of Dan Jones' other books, so I always look at them. He said that this kind of loosely is like loosely the third book in a group of books. I think the other two are Powers and Thrones and Crusaders, and they all kind of follow like the Middle Ages, and Henry V kind of sits in the middle of those two books. And in his other books, Dan Jones didn't talk about him much because he had in mind that he was going to do a book devoted to Henry V. Oh no, it was the Plantagenets, a narrative history which covered the dynasty's history from the ascension of Henry II to the disposition of Richard II. So when Henry V's young, Richard II is king. And then he produced a companion volume called The Hollow Crown. So between those two I left a Henry V shaped gap. Yeah. And yeah, you know, I mean, it's his life. It's very interesting. Richard II, his wife died and he was really sad, and then he married someone for the dowry, which was like £1 million, which would have been so much then. I mean, that's so much now. And for like a political allegiance, and he's like 38 and she's 6, so that's wonderful. And then later on it's like him and his now 9-year-old wife, and no thank you. And even like Henry V's mum, when she gives birth to him, she's like 12 or something. Oh no, wait, she's little more than a child herself, just 16 or 17 summers, but she married when she was 12. That's where I got the 12 from. Yeah, I know that people didn't live as long then, and you were considered like an adult younger than you are now, but I mean, I guess at least Richard and his child bride had separate houses and didn't consummate because he was waiting till she was older, probably till she was like 12. But yeah, so that was interesting. So we just got to the point that he's just finally become king. He's been like wanting to for quite a while in this section, and as I said, I don't really know much about his reign, so that'll be interesting to learn. So yeah, and then we will be starting this tonight. I have some parish council meetings, and then we will start this after that because I get back late, and then we'll start that then. So yeah, that's where we currently are. Okay, where are we? Okay, so I realised I literally never finished this. I got to try and escape. And the new weekend starts tomorrow, so it needs to be something I can read today. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 3 or 5. 3. 1, 2, 3. Number 11, right. And then we can finish this room. Okay, this weekend we're using this little cutie. Don't really know which room to do. So far we've done purple, we've done yellow. I'm not going to look up what the words are for them. This is a library, isn't it? I'm going to save that for last weekend. Let's do the green one. What's this, like living room maybe? Okay. Oh god, that's a huge piece. Right, 4. So we want to try and get 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we got to the ghost. I'm doing really well at getting these ghosts and things. Okay, so we'll start with a ghost. Let's go look up what the prompt is. You roll the dice for me so we know where to move our little guy. Ready? 2. Well done. So I can go. Probably want to head towards the equipment, don't I? So 1, 2. Should we go to number 3? What do you think? To there. Yeah, we're heading that way. Thank you. So we'll go to number 3. Mama's going to find out what that prompt is for my audiobook, okay? Okay. This is a quick check-in. I'm just about to go to work. Ignore everything. Ignore how I look, because I'm going to work. So last night I rolled for my audiobook, and it was a new to author. So I've decided to pick up this one of the Libro ALCs I've got. It's called Thirsty by Lucy Lehane, and it's a vampire paranormal romance, and it's got a dark cover, so that's where the dark's coming from. So this is going to be my today read whilst I'm at work. It's 9 hours long, so I'm going to do the whole thing whilst I'm at work today, so I won't do a check-in, but I thought I'd just let you know for a start, because I've been a bit terrible at doing vlogging and updating and stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then the physical book I'm reading is in my, for the first roll, I can't remember if I told you about that one. I'm halfway through that, and that is, I've got the little thing here, Be Right Back by Bill Wood, and it's the sequel to Let's Split Up, which I read on Wednesday. And this is for ghosts, so you can spell magic on the cover. Yeah, so I could spell magic on the cover with it, with his not his author name, with the title and like the subtitle thing, what the taglines. Yeah, I got there in the end. So that's what I'm reading for Ghost, and that's got a dark cover as well. I'm hoping I might do a roll that means I read something that's like a dark in theme or something, but at the minute I've just stuck with dark covers. Okay, cool. I will let you know later when I'm back from work and showered and looking a bit more and feeling a bit more human. So as expected, I did finish Thirsty whilst I was at work. Today was actually the perfect length of time for work. So this follows it's a dual POV, and we follow Charlie, who is a human who writes advice columns for a online newspaper or online website, and he went by the name of Old Crone, Wrinkled Old Crone or something. That's like the name he goes by online, and in this timeline, supernaturals have come out into public realm not long before, and he's noticing a trend of the problems that people write in with are becoming more and more supernatural. Okay, Harriet, can you let me finish? Are becoming more and more supernatural leaning, and he wonders if, because of his name or like his pen name, people think that he is part of the supernatural world, like he's a witch or something. Yeah, and his column is not doing so great recently, and columns that have popped up that are dealing with supernatural issues are doing really well. So he's got to a point that he needs to decide like what he's going to do to change, like keep his career going. And he thinks and he has had to move back to his hometown from New York. He feels like he's taken a step back. He hasn't told like his agent that he's moved back. He's pretending, oh, I'm just out of town visiting friends. And he's considering like, can I write supernatural advice, because he thinks if I do that, like he doesn't know anything about the supernatural world or races or culture, etc. And then one of the first nights when he's back in town, he is sitting in a coffee shop in the middle of the night, and this guy comes in who Charlie thinks is hot. And then when the coffee shop owner or like the barista says the name, they say Lorenzo, and Charlie realizes that he knows Lorenzo. Lorenzo used to date one of Charlie's friends when Charlie was at college. So he starts talking to Lorenzo, and Lorenzo's really standoffish with him, but Charlie's kind of a bit of a golden retriever a little bit, and he just kind of ignores it. And it turns out that Lorenzo very much remembers him, because Charlie told Lorenzo's girlfriend to dump Lorenzo, and Lorenzo still harbours like revenge thoughts against Charlie. And Charlie finds out that Lorenzo is a vampire and has always been a vampire. So Lorenzo is the other POV we get. And they end up like striking a deal in which Lorenzo will answer Charlie's questions. He thinks for a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a dissertation, a project. Charlie says he's working on, rather than Charlie admitting that it's for his advice column. And Lorenzo gets, I don't know, like Charlie says, hey, I'll do your chores that you need doing during daylight hours, and they kind of strike up that deal, and that quickly kind of falls to the wayside. Lorenzo's like, I'm gonna get revenge on him, and that quickly falls to the wayside. And Charlie very quickly becomes very involved in Lorenzo's life, and like Lorenzo's housemates, he's got housemates like someone that's got a poltergeist, someone that's, oh, I don't want to say what she is because it's really cool when you find out, but yeah, and a half troll, yeah, various supernatural folks. And then through Lorenzo, Charlie gets to meet werewolves and demons and various other supernatural creatures. He's writing his advice column, it starts picking up, doing really, really well. He feels guilty that he's not told Lorenzo that actually he's doing this advice column. It's not for a school project or whatever, dissertation. Lorenzo has feelings for Charlie, and yeah, it just kind of goes from there. It's quite funny. I'm glad that I was listening to this whilst I was at work, because I think if I wasn't kind of tied in for like the 5 hours that I was at work of listening to it, I might have put it down.
but I couldn't be bothered to check if I had any other audiobooks downloaded. And the reason I might have put it down is because I was picturing Lorenzo as the guy from the What We Do in the Shadows film. I'll put up a picture of him, and I was like, I can't get on board or a romance with this guy. But luckily that did. I continued picturing him as that guy, but the ickiness of it or whatever like went away. So yeah, I'm glad that was the fact. So I just rolled again. So my next audiobook is going to be The Equipment. So what is that? Read a book with more letters in the title than your last read. That'd be easy because that book was just called Thirsty. And I did say I was hoping to have something dark in terms of theme or vibes, because the other two books have been covers. So I'm going to have a look at my TBR for the month and see if anything else matches. We're going to do Nestle and Bone. It's definitely got more letters than my last book. It's, I think, a little bit dark in terms of the storytelling. It's like a darker side of fantasy, and I have it in physical and audio, so that'd be perfect. I'm going to finish this, which was obviously my first pick, and then we can start on that. So I think that'll work out well. Yeah. Okay, sorry about the bad lighting and the shadows. So I picked Nettle and Bone as my audiobook for this one because I had audio and physical, and everyone's doing that thing where it won't actually let me access the audiobook. So let's roll again and try and find an audiobook. Where are we getting out of this room? I guess we'll try and get out here because this will probably be the last roll I can do this weekend. So 1, 2, 10. Wait, so that means we'll have to do one more roll this weekend to get out. Okay, 10. I'm really hoping this is something I could do an audiobook for. If not, I will do the activity, and then we will try and do the activity for 6 as well and leave that way. Okay, 10 it is. Okay, we're trying a new location. Don't judge my background. It is what it is. I have so much to catch you up on. So this is, as I'm sure the title has told you, is going to be weekend 2 and 3 of Halloweekend. Primarily because last weekend I just did not have the time to edit, and I didn't really do anything. Although, to be fair, I didn't really do anything this weekend either. But last weekend I can't even remember what books I read. I don't know if I updated you on the end of any of those books. I really can't remember what I read last weekend. Anyway, this weekend, so for my first roll, I read Be Right Back, which is the sequel to Let's Split Up by Bill Wood. It's a YA a slasher duology, and this was so much fun. It was very, look, you can tell that Bill has a big love of the genre, and he actually studied film studies, something along those lines, at university. That's what his degree is in, and he's a big fan of horror films, and you can tell. And this was just really, really fun. The characters were, what I liked about it is the characters are, this is set a year after the first book, and they've gone through a slasher thing in the first book. They survived. They're kind of like, they're known as the Sonara 4. That's like the town they're from, and they've become quite famous, like celebrities in their own right, for solving a load of murders and bringing down the bad guy in the first book. So this is a sequel set a year later, and 3 of them have gone off to college, and one of them's still in the town. And it really approaches it very well of
the it approaches it really well, and Bill approaches the idea of like kind of, are you drifting apart? Are you not? How to maintain friendships? This is set in 2002, so sort of the social media aspect and like video calls and stuff as we know them now, not available to these people as they try and navigate their relationships and their friendships, not just their friendships, their relationships with their parents and stuff, when they come back to the town on Halloween weekend, and then there is a copycat killer. This was fantastic, really fun. I also read, great question, what was my second role? I'm gonna have to look up what these roles were. I will come back with some more updates then. But I thought last weekend, I went to this book warehouse, which is quite close to me. I was going to record it, and I just didn't record anything. I didn't even record anything really for real. So I was just a terrible content creator. I was just enjoying hanging out with my friend at a book warehouse. So it's a warehouse that's like business to business, and 2 weekends a month they open up for their book club. You pay £2 for an annual subscription, and the books in there are 70% off retail price, but they're not like not bestsellers, they're not new releases. But if you're willing to look, you can find some good books from what we gathered. I've left one of my books on the shelf. And yeah, I think it took us about 2 hours to go around. It was just a really enjoyable time. So I thought we'll go through that. I've also had some book mail over the last couple of weeks, and like some influencer mail. So yeah, let's just go through the books that have joined my bookshelves recently, because I used to share books onto my bookshelves as like a monthly thing. But I got quite sick of doing, not sick, but it just wasn't really working for me doing like monthly wrap ups and things like that. So I kind of stopped doing it. So yeah, let's go through some of the books that I've recently enjoyed my shelves. Let me go grab that other book actually. Okay, so we'll start with the books that I got at 66 books, or book 66 books, I think it's called. I'll link it down below if you're in the UK and you're interested. It's at Hemel Hempstead, and a reminder, you should check the dates, make sure it's a weekend they're actually open. If you try and go any other time, you will get sent away, because you get 70% off retail price, there's no returns, and just a reminder, there's no guarantee on what books you'll find, so don't do like a 3-hour drive unless you're willing to understand the excitement of it is just spending time with your friends and like looking around the books. Otherwise you'll probably complain it was a waste of money. So I got 4 books there. Well, no, I got my hair, was it? I went through the emotions on this book, and yeah, I need it. I need to reread it, and I need to annotate it, and I need to write something about this, like an in-depth review, some Substack thing of like an analysis of it. I don't know, but I just know I need to do more with this book because it really got under my skin. So yeah, I picked up this. It's a gothic historical, I guess, kind of thriller. I would say it's more thriller leaning than, it's not horror at all actually. I'm just inclined to call everything horror. Yeah, I would say thriller. It keeps you guessing. It's kind of like, and I feel like making this comparison is going to make people think I'm not picking it up, but I say this comparison in the best possible way. It reminded me of The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. Look, I'm a fan of M. Night Shyamalan. I'm aware of his downfalls. I'm aware of the negatives of his film. I know. I'm not rosy-eyed over him, but I am a fan. And this gave me like The Village vibes, but in a good way. Basically, if you fuck with him, you probably enjoy this. I guess. I don't know.
I picked up 2 of the books I'm missing from this collection, which is the Kimberly Lemming Mead Mishaps series. So I've got book 2, so I saw book 1 and 3 were there, so that was exciting. I've only read book 1 so far. I've read like the Christmas spin-off novella, so this is great. Now I can read all 3 of them. I don't think the Christmas spin-off novella has a physical book. It's only like 100 pages, so I don't know if Kimberly Lemming released it, or I guess more correctly, if the publisher is going to be releasing it, because these are like new covers now that they're being traditionally published. I did love the old covers as well, but I never got my button gear to collect them. But these are stunning. So these are Monster Smart books. They are Monster Smart books set in a kind of medieval-esque time period with modern Gen Z slang. So you need to know that going in, whether that's going to work for you or not, because Kimberly Lemming, she is funny as heck if you find that kind of thing funny. I read her most recent release, which is the start of a sci-fi, erotica, sci-fi smut series, and that is also fantastic, so I need to pick up a copy of that when I can. The last book I got for myself is one that I haven't read, but I've had the intention of reading it. And in case you didn't know, it's always linked below, but I have started a Dark Academia book club on Fable. It's 2 monthly books, so we're actually doing our first book at the moment, October and November. It's not too late to join, and that's going to be The Secret History, because I feel like it was kind of the first book that really gave birth to Dark Academia as we know it as a literary genre now. But going forward, I really want to dive into some more diverse options for Dark Academia. And this is definitely one that was on my list of one I want to read. I will do a poll, so I've only got a few people, I think, reading along with me at the moment, but to see if they're interested in this in the future. But this is The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, and this is I think it's got vampires in it. I can't remember, but I am very excited to pick this up. Whether or not it'll be for my book club, I don't know, but as I said, come join us, please. That'd be great. A couple of books I picked up for myself. I read and devoured and loved Anathema by Kerry Lake, which is a gothic gothic smutty fae book. Anyway, it got me looking into more kind of romantasy books I've been interested in, and this was like on a big discount, so I picked up this. It was like £4 in the discount. Phantasma, and this is a dark fantasy romance by Kaylee Smith, and the second book is also still in a very good deal. I think it's like 50% off, so I kind of want to read this soon so that I can see if I want the second book or not. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have access to this as an audiobook as well, so I'll probably do both so that I can listen to it when I'm at work and stuff. All I know about this is it's probably fae, maybe not fae, but I think there's some sort of trials element, and I do enjoy trials. I also finally picked up my pre-order of Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Earlier this year, I devoured everything Ali Hazelwood had written up until that point. I absolutely loved Bride. I'm very much looking forward into diving back into the universe. This follows people we meet in Bride, but not the couple from Bride. Presumably they are going to be a secondary couple in it, though I'm sure everyone knows what Ali Hazelwood is about by now. This is a book I will probably never mention again on any of my social channels, just because of the way it's been heavily marketed by the publisher. and that is Alchemized by Sen Lin Yu. I am so intrigued by this. It's supposed to be dark and gothic and heart-wrenching, and I am truly disappointed in how her publisher has gone about marketing this. For those who don't know, the author did used to write Harry Potter fan fiction, and this is a kind of loose reimagining of one of the fan fictions she'd written. You do not need to read the fan fiction, the original one, in order to read this. In fact, a lot of people have said that would hinder your enjoyment of this book. And I think in this current climate of what the author of Harry Potter spends her money on, I feel that it was a disservice to this book and the author to heavily market it in line with Harry Potter. I also think it's a bit of a choice to release this under the AO3 pen name as well, because that very heavily aligns this with Harry Potter. I think that if the story is as good and compelling as I hope it is, and the author's writing is as good as it has been shown to be on their fan fiction work, I think they should have released this under a different name, a different pen name, and they shouldn't have made the comparisons towards Harry Potter, and they should have just really picked out the important elements of this and released it and marketed it as its own work in its own right. But that is just my opinion. So yeah, just to make sure everyone's aware, fuck JK Rowling. You will have noticed I do not talk about Harry Potter on any of my accounts. I am very trans rights are human rights, and if this book makes people want to pick up Harry Potter or check out Harry Potter or JK Rowling, then it is not helping our trans brothers and sisters. Right. And the rest was sent to me by publishers very luckily. I got this from Vintage Books, and I am so excited. They didn't tell me. I applied for it. They didn't tell me I was going to get it. And it is Margaret Atwood's autobiography. It's called A Memoir of Sorts. It comes out in November this year. It has sprayed edges, which is definitely a choice. This is humongous. So this is far too many pages, 570 pages. I was going to say, who has that much to say about their life, but obviously Margaret Atwood does. And it is as well, if I can find the page, and it is 112 of 500. So I'm very, very lucky and privileged to receive this. I'm very interested to see what Miss Atwood has to say. Obviously, her books, in particular Handmaid's Tale, have been very notably discussed in recent times. I am aware that Margaret Atwood herself is not a poster child for everything that's right in the world, and diversity in its all-encompassing way that it should be approached. But I am still intrigued by her autobiography. I was then very privileged to receive this one. I'm so excited for this. This is an anticipated read for me. It's The Firstborn of the Sun by Marvelous Michael Anson. It's a epic fantasy. It's actually a debut for the author. I mean, I don't know what's going on with all these chunky books. It's scaring me. Why do I keep picking up chunky books recently? But I'm so excited by this. It is West African inspired, like the morphology, and I also got it also came with a printout of the map of the world. If you go to my Instagram, there's a picture. And then finally, for a book tour I'm involved in, I received The Scammer by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is actually going to be my first Tiffany D. Jackson I read. I have so many of their books on my TBR. And I'm currently reading this for one of my roles, my last role of the weekend. So I'm actually halfway through this, and so this one follows Jordan, who has just started at a all black college, and she has gone there kind of against her parents' wishes. She received a place at Yale and she decided to go here instead, and we know that she has a bit of a abusive or tempestuous relationship with her parents. We know that her brother probably died prior to this. It's just kind of like little bits that are being dropped in, so we've not discovered that element yet. But we know that she has come with a lot of emotional baggage, and she is quite prime for being picked out as someone that could be easily manipulated, let's put it that way. So she moves in with her 3 roommates, and one of her roommates, like they get along amazingly straight away, and they're like sisters for life, you know. And then one of her roommates discusses how she has a brother, Devante, and he is in prison or just getting out of prison. And when he gets out of prison, he comes to stay with them for a couple of weeks and ends up just basically not leaving. And he very quickly but very subtly starts showing quite abusive and manipulative and controlling behaviors. And I'm halfway through, and it is crazy how much this has spiraled into a complete cult situation. And our main character, Jordan, despite kind of being very ripe for falling into a cult pipeline due to her history, she ends up kind of going the other way, and she doesn't want to lose this freedom that she's finally got. Like, she's been fighting for this freedom and this chance to relearn who she is and like reestablish herself as her own person. And so she's kind of pushing back a little bit, and obviously that cannot happen if you want a thriving cult. And this is just the gaslighting in this. It's making my stomach drop. I feel sick on like every page. It's just, oh my god, I've never despised a character so much. And I'm obviously going to finish this weekend for the readathon, and I just cannot wait. The book for the role before this one was for a title that was shorter than the one before. Yes. So for that I picked out Nettle and Bone. I think I did mention that audiobook, everyone's been like, no, you can't have this yet, like they want to do. I do have the physical copy, but I will not finish that this weekend. Luckily, however, I did read a volume of a graphic novel I'm reading, so that can fit into this prompt because it's definitely dark. So this is volume 4 of Killing Stalking. It's like a webtoon comic that's been published as physical bind-ups. There are, although I'm reading them digitally, but there are 8 volumes, so I'm now like halfway through. And just to be clear, before I talk about this story, I do not recommend this. I do not approve of anything that happens in this book or this arc of stories. So we basically follow a stalker and a serial killer, and the stalker guy Bum, he gets really obsessed with Sunji, and he breaks into Sunji's house to like sniff his bedding and roll all over it basically. And then he goes into the basement, and there is a woman tied up there who is clearly being abused by Sunji. And then Sunji comes home and knocks Bum out, and then he keeps Bum as his prisoner, plaything, I don't know. And I guess kind of a little bit like Jordan, but in a completely different way. Bum is very primed for being a submissive in a very toxic relationship. He has been through a lot of physical and sexual abuse prior to breaking into Sunji's house, and Sunji is obviously a serial killer, and they have a very toxic and dark and fucked up relationship. And again, I do not recommend this to anyone. I do not even recommend it to myself. I'm not sure why I'm still reading this. I got to like volume 3 and I was like, I should just stop reading this. But I'm still going, and I don't know, I'm kind of like addicted to knowing what's going to happen, even though every single page is just a giant red flag. So I'm just saying, pick this up at your own risk. It is very much dark and not like tee dark. It's dark, okay? Just letting you know. Yeah, so 1, 2, what was my other book then that I read? Because I think I've done 4 this weekend. Obviously I'm finishing up this. So I read, my first role was the Full Vibes, and I read this one, and I did it as like a dark cover, and also it's about a serial killer. Had my it was Thirsty, yes. I read the vampire book. Yeah. I did that as an audio at work. That was like a rom-com with a human and a vampire. Yeah, I remember discussing this, yeah. That was really fun, and I do keep thinking about it, how fun it was. I'm going to check out if the author has any other books, because it was a fun ride. And then Killing Stalking was for the book that has more words than the previous book. I can't remember what I rolled to get Thirsty. Oh, I think that was, I can't remember. I was going to say I think it was to spell a word on the witch or something, but I think this one, magic. But this one was one magic. I'm so disorganized. But yes, there's my final book basically for the weekend. And I'm gonna have to check my clips from last Halloweekend to see if I need to update you on any of the books I read then, because I've got a feeling I just like didn't come back with any of those books that I was reading. But yeah, there we go. This has been a long clip, but we looked at some new books that joined my shelf. We updated our books we've read. We've seen a cat. Charlie, he wants some dinner. Right, I will see you soon when I will tell you my final thoughts on this, and I will update you on any of the books from last week that I was meant to update you on and never did. So I finished The Scammer. This was absolutely fantastic. I have never been so angry about a fictional character. Like ugh, no, I hated him. But this was a great book, absolutely fantastic. I need to pick up more Tiffany D. Jackson's like immediately. So there's maybe this side, some of the books I read for these 2 weekends. There we go. Hopefully, wow, the colours are like really shining. Hopefully, next weekend, the next 2 weekends will be one vlog per weekend, but we shall see. So yes, that is where we are. If you took part, let me know what you've read. If you want to say hi but have nothing specific to say, leave me some sort of spooky emoji, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's a really good reading weekend. Very happy with what I read. So yes, I will see you for the next one very soon. Bye friends.